Hello, you're watching James. My name's James, you're watching me, and I am talking about watches. Today, again, I want to say a big thanks to one of my subscribers, Vince, who lent me this watch to use, to enjoy, and to review for you guys. It is the Pagani Design 1692. This obviously is a homage watch. It is exactly what you expect from Pagani Design in regards to the looks, in regards to it being a homage watch, but I think it actually might be one of the better watches that Pagani Design offers. And I say that for a couple of reasons. I say that firstly because it does not have a rotating bezel. One of the negatives of Pagani Design watches is that rotating bezels can be a little bit iffy, can be a little bit poorly made, perhaps can have a bit of backplay, and sort of feel like it sort of brings down the quality of the watch. This watch doesn't have a rotating bezel, so it removes that possible issue. It also has a relatively simple dial, which I think really suits these watches. I think if you have a relatively simple dial, then the feeling and the quality of it can feel better. And especially on this particular watch, they are using their Pagani Design logo rather than the name. I don't have any particular issues with Pagani Design as of the name. However, I do particularly like their logo, and I think it really suits this watch just having the logo. Overall, it's fairly well made as well, and it is exactly what I expected from a Pagani Design watch. Now guys, if you are interested in this watch, at the end of this full review, I will leave an affiliate link down below. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do click on that button. It makes a huge difference to me and the channel. But let's flip the camera around now, and let's do a full in-depth review of this Pagani Design watch. So here we have the Pagani Design PD1692. Comes out of the very standard Pagani Design packaging with the polishing cloth, with your unsigned warranty card, and some general information that comes along the side. But of course we're here to see the watch today, and I am actually quite impressed by this one. There's a few real features about this one that really tick some boxes for me, especially for a Pagani Design watch. And what are some of those boxes that are being ticked for me? Well, firstly, it's when you look on the stores that are selling this watch, the Pagani Design official stores and the different stores, all the feedback from people who have bought this watch are all very positive, and that's really nice to see. So it's nice to hear that other people are enjoying this watch as well, because I certainly have been enjoying it for the short term that I've had it. But why have I been enjoying it, and why do I like this one so much? Well, let's talk about some of the features that really stand out to me. Firstly, that beautiful piano black dial. Now I like to call these things piano black. I'm not sure if that's actually what it's called, but every time I see a really black shiny surface just like that, it does remind me of a big grand piano. So for me, it's piano black. We got some applied indices here, the upside down triangle, the 3, the 6, the 9. We've got lume inside of those as well. Lume infilled into these polished hands, Mercedes style hands. Beautiful green second hand, which I particularly like. Ooh, look at that. See, that piano black, it's reflecting that second hand. I do like that. It's a cool feature. That green hand then does sort of fit in, or at least sort of go in well with the bit of writing or text here in green that says automatic 200 meters. The rest is printed on in white, the 5, the 10, etc. around, and those hour markers. And then there's the applied Pagani Design logo, which I think is actually a bit of a feature of this one. I don't mind the name Pagani Design, but sometimes on a watch it can be a little bit distracting, but I do like this little shield that they've come up with. I think it's a nice, very cool logo, and I think it looks very good on a watch. And then it transfers very well onto a crown as well. Now this watch has another standout feature for me, and that is its dimensions, because I think it's a very nice watch to wear on wrist. And that's because the case is 40 millimeters, the thickness is 11.5 millimeters, the lug to lug is officially 48.5 millimeters, but you'll see their male end links. However, there is a big amount of downturn, so the effective lug to lug is 52 millimeters. However, don't let that one scare you off, because it really does wrap down onto your wrist, and it certainly doesn't feel like a lug to lug of 52 millimeters. Lug width is 20 millimeters, and on this bracelet, with a few links removed to fit my 6 3/4 inch wrist, it weighs in at 136 grams. Now that beautiful dial is covered by a flat piece of sapphire crystal. As I said, it has 200 meters of listed water resistance. We have an unguarded crown. Inside here we have the NH35. So we have the things that we would expect from this watch, which means we have hand winding. We do unfortunately mean that we have a ghost position, if I could find it. Ghost position. But then of course we have hacking. But as you can see, it's a threaded crown, so we can screw it in to try and achieve that 200 meters of listed water resistance. The crown, however, is a little bit small. I think overall it looks good, but it is a little bit funny and a little bit fiddly to grab hold of and to try and, especially when you're trying to screw that back in again, I've had a few issues. Something else I do like about it, however, is the mixtures of surfaces they've used. This solid bezel is pole polished. That transitions into a brushed tops of the lugs. Both sides obviously are all polished, which is quite nice. You can see there is a nice little bit of curving, which then also further helps for it to sit onto your wrist, which is very pleasant. But we're just speaking about that Seiko NH35, and I do like to test all of the watches that come through on my time grapher. Even though I've seen lots of Seiko NH35s come through, it is interesting to see the differences between them. So let's stick it on the time grapher. Well, there's a set of numbers that don't surprise me at all. These NH35s do run well within sort of general tolerances. It's only looking at plus 6 seconds at the moment per day. Amplitude's 245, not too bad. Beta is under 1, so that's not too bad. You probably would like it a little bit closer to 0. And of course, 21,600 vibrations per hour. It's exactly what we're expecting out of this movement. And what haven't we spoken about yet? Well, we haven't spoken about loom. And Pagani Design is not really well known for great loom, but let's check this one out. And have to say, it's probably what I expected. It's perfectly acceptable, it's okay, but it's not fantastic. But let's jump into the bracelet, because the bracelet is very good. I get the feeling that the Pagani Design bracelets are actually getting a little bit better as time goes by. Solid end links, as we expect, fit beautifully into the case. Lots of downturn, as I mentioned, all brushed. Has a sort of a 3-link style to it, but they're solid 1 links. Does have a bit of taper, which is quite nice. We are looking at screw links, which is what we expect now from Pagani Design. And we've got this homage sort of style clasp. Pagani Design stamped in there. We've got a safety catch. We've got the sort of spring style clasp there, and it's all milled inside. Very nice, very easy to use, very comfortable. Case back, we have one of their sort of a venture style case backs, which I quite like these sort of styles that they're using now. They've got a few different that they use depending on the watch. This one's a particularly nice one. And how does it look on wrist? Well, I think it looks fantastic because these dimensions just do suit my sort of wrist really well. And I think it suits a lot of people's wrists very well. Having a little bit of tapering down does actually feel nice on wrist too. 40 millimeters by 20 millimeters. Yeah, feels nice. And as you can see, even though that effective lug to lug is quite large, it does certainly and easily fit onto my wrist. Very comfortable, sits down nicely as well. Nothing to complain about in regards to the fit. And in regards to that fit, that is actually probably one of my biggest positives of this watch. So what do I like about it? Well, I like the fit. And what don't I like about it, and what would I change? Well, let's talk more about what I like, because there is quite a lot to like about it. It's great that it contains the Seiko movement. We do like that. I like that it's using the Pagani Design logo rather than the name. I think it suits this style. Fits in really nice with all the other things that are happening on there. And as I mentioned, the braceletness is actually really nice. Really nice fit and finish. It's getting better. I think they're sort of working on those little issues that they're having. I do like that it doesn't have a rotating bezel. Of course, this style of watch wasn't going to have a rotating bezel, but Pagani Design doesn't always get them right. So when you get a Pagani Design that has some things missing that sometimes they don't get right, well, it just makes another positive for me. What don't I like about it? Well, probably the thing I like least about it is working that crown. It is a little bit fiddly, especially trying to get it back on. Although I do think it looks good, I think the size is okay from a looks perspective. I probably would have increased it slightly just to make it easier to actually action. So what would I change? Well, that's the thing I would change. What else would I change? Well, there's not really much else to change to it, because overall, just a fairly good watch. A really good example from Pagani Design. So that's about it really. Well, other than my final thoughts. So let's flip the camera around and I'll give you those. So a Pagani Design watch with a good looking dial, without the name Pagani Design, without the rotating bezel, that sits well and looks good on wrist and is reasonably priced. What can you ask for more out of a Pagani Design watch? Probably not much. So this one is particularly good. I do really like it. I do certainly recommend it to any of you guys out there that do like this style of dial, this watch that it is homaging. It is an affordable version of it. And if you've owned a Pagani Design watch before, you'll know the sort of quality that you're going to get. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I will see you in the next video.